talking, and we're going to get going in just a few minutes. Um, Sorry, a little bit of a delayed start here. I believe we're going to have the main man, Lee Toe, joining us. He's going to join the Zoom, and let me check out what we got here. We're going to be talking about the Messi situation. We're going to be talking about where he's going. Oh, okay. We look like we're live here. Looking good in my yellow um, limited release uh, Liverpool jersey for this season. And let's see. I don't know if I want to delve into. Oh, Lee has entered the waiting room. And here we go. Um, Lee, if you can hear me, let me know. We can get our chat going. Connecting the audio. Can't hear you yet. We can also see if Lee turns the video on today. I know the fans wanted that. In the meantime, while we're getting started, everybody, please let me know where you're coming from, uh, where you're located, where you're from, and do throw in your comments. Wait a minute, it's weird here. I think I'm live, but I'm not seeing it. See, Lee, can you hear me? Oh, you're muted.
I gotcha.
There we go. Beautiful. Team looks alone. That's the alias for my wife. She says that she is calling from inside my house, which is true. Uh, LOL. Lee, how goes it?
Doing well. Doing well. Happy it's Saturday. How about yourself?
Good. Sorry for the delayed start, um, but I think we're rolling. And
Nice.
wait, let's see here. Yeah. All right. Yeah. What's it called? So I guess maybe we just jump right into our topics for today. I sent you a little sneak peek of some things that um, we will be talking about today. Uh, a lot has changed since I kind of set the agenda for myself about 2 days ago. We've got the whole Messi situation that just kind of dropped, which we'll definitely talk about that. At the time that I set the agenda, Grealish hadn't signed for City yet, although we kind of saw the writing on the wall, and we also see, I would say the name, but I believe it's showing up as a phrase not to be mentioned um, on today's broadcast. The England captain.
Yeah.
See if that happens. But anyway, let's just
He,
start.
the England captain would never miss a day of training. He'd never do it. He's coming back just as
Let's not
planned.
skirt
It's
the
all
rules here.
planned.
Let's not
Yeah.
refer
He,
to the
he wasn't.
phrases to be avoided, but uh, not say them. That's not going to fly here.
Yeah. He
But
wasn't expected to return this week. It was much ado about nothing.
oh
Let's
yeah,
be
no, it
honest.
was all planned. I mean, he
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to show up to the training that he was
Nope.
supposed to show up to.
Mm-mm.
So anyway, my first talking point is all that is going on at Barca. So let me just set the backdrop for anybody at home that doesn't quite know or doesn't have all the details on that. So basically, Barcelona. Let's put it this way: La Liga does FFP, financial fair play, differently than all the other leagues. Now, I happen to agree with the way that they do it. In fact, it didn't even cross my mind because typically, like now, we're even talking. I, by profession, am an accountant. Accounting, I know, is not the most riveting of topics. However, I was going to say that, like in accounting, when people report their books and whatever, it's all after the fact. It's all financial reporting and all that sort of stuff. Now, what I'm about to say is for financial fair play in La Liga, they assess a club's budget prior to the season, which makes a whole lot of sense to me because the way everybody else does it, um, really UEFA and all the other leagues that I'm aware of, they do it after the fact, and then they'll assess penalties, if necessary. But as we've all seen before, FFP hasn't really had a whole lot of evidence of really working and penalizing those clubs that cross the line because, you know, Man City and PSG in the same way that, the Yankees and the Lakers and whatever, if they ever to break the laws, that's just how the world works. You kind of cut them some slack, you do a slap on the wrist, and then everybody moves on. But us fans, we look at that sort of thing, and um, you know, you kind of look at it as like a sweetheart deal. So anyway, to stick to the topic, La Liga assesses these budgets beforehand, and then if your books aren't really balancing, um, they actually won't allow you to like field new signings. They won't let you register these players. So again, as I wrote this agenda, the whole Messi thing didn't even happen. But as of then, they weren't able to field Memphis Depay, who they signed this season, this summer, Aguero, um, and so the hilarious thing, to keep this short, is that Messi basically verbally agreed, didn't put pen to paper, but verbally agreed to a 50% wage cut. And La Liga then came in and said that wasn't even enough. Even with that wage cut, Barca's still not going to be able to be compliant. So essentially, what they've said is, Barca, you have no choice. You have to let Messi be free. And then after the fact, again, this is all rumorville, but it's said that they're still going to need to sell those players that we all kind of knew that they need to sell anyway, like Coutinho and Griezmann, and they still need to shift people. So it's going to be a complete fire sale at Barcelona. I don't think anybody truly has a full picture of what actually needs to happen, but probably not much sleep going on over there on the Barcelona board. And so anyway, let me stop talking there and turn it over to you, Lee. Just anything that I missed or really your input on the situation that's going on
No, I don't really have anything to add to that. I'm not the La Liga guy. Um, I just it so it begs the question, like, how does it even get to that point where it comes down to like the final day of when Messi's trying to put pen to paper that you realize, oh no, can't happen. Like I just don't, like, we know the hows of how they got here. Terrible, terrible wage management and all that stuff. I still, it baffles me. It got to this point. That's is wild to me.
over there. Yeah,
At
I
a
mean,
club as big as Barcelona for that to happen.
my answer to that is mismanagement as well as, I mean, listen, it's very easy to say it's mismanagement. I mean, you're going to say Leeds in 2003 or whatever it was mismanaged. That's how catastrophes happen. So that's not exactly
Mm-hmm.
a news flash. But this is what's happened. This is how bubbles burst. And I keep kind of going outside the sport to make comparisons, but this is like the Big Short. Like this, anyone inside or out, soccer fans and non-soccer fans alike, like kind of perk your ears up and listen to this. This is a complete catastrophe. We've never seen this before. This is, if you're not a soccer fan, this is the equivalent of like the Lakers saying, "Oh, wait, we thought we could afford LeBron, but guess what? We can't. So LeBron, you're now a free agent. Like, sorry, this is the best player or whatever. Not even to be controversial, one of the best players in the game right now, possibly the greatest player of all time, and he has to be cut loose because that Barcelona would do anything in their power to keep him, but it just is obviously not feasible. So they've reached that line, and I think this opens up a whole other conversation about the golden cage concept of players of you know again, this bubble has burst, and I think now is the time. I'd like to rattle off a list of names of golden cage type players. Gareth Bale certainly is one. I think he's the most obvious choice in world football. He makes £500,000 a week. if not more. And he contributes nothing to Real Madrid. I heard somebody talking about elsewhere in La Liga, Real Madrid are going to collectively be paying Eden Hazard and Gareth Bale £1 million per week. And how much on-field contribution are they actually getting out of those players? So it's kind of hilarious as an outsider slash part-time hater of these two clubs, of Real Madrid and Barcelona, that listen, going back, 5, 6 years, probably not. That's even further back. That's conservative. 5 or 6 years ago, 2015, we're talking about like, oh, Real Madrid and Barcelona, they're the irrefusables. Like everybody in the world would love to go there. We always typically say like the Latin players, the South American, Spanish, Portuguese, whatever. And at the time, Liverpool wasn't quite where we're at, and we would always say like, oh, it's so great that we have Suarez and Coutinho, but the time's going to come where it's a rite of passage, basically. They are going to want to go to Real Madrid and Barcelona, and you have to let them go. But it's no longer there. I mean, for both on-field and way more so, I would say off-field reasons, is it's not sustainable. You can't. So again, I know I'm jumping all over the place, but in my mind, this is all related. I want to just shout out Bayern Munich for letting David Alaba go this summer and saying, no, we're not going to pay you whatever you want. I mean, he's a club legend at Bayern. He's been there for how many years? And they're maybe in a little bit of transition. Some players getting older. Obviously, Lewandowski's still there, but they have a useful team there, and you would not have flinched if they gave that contract to Alaba for 300K a week or whatever he wanted. They said, no, there's the door. We're standing firm. We're not going to pay you whatever we want. And it happens at uh, a lot of clubs where we're not going to break the wage structure. You hear it at Liverpool, and I think these teams deserve a pat on the back because it. I'll turn it back over to you again in just a second, Lee. But it's such a fine line to say these teams are lacking ambition because they won't play in the same sandbox as Man City and PSG, and broaden it out a little bit more because you just, even if you want to, you can't play in that sandbox with PSG and Man City just because there's no amount of money in the bank account to do that. But then like one level in is overextending yourself and sort of like pulling the lead sort of thing of, okay, we're going to spend this copious amount of money on these players with the hope that that's going to pay off and that's going to get us into whatever echelon of club that we want to be, and then we'll be self-sustaining from that point. But if you don't do it, then you fall way down the football pyramid. So anyway, my point is just, I think right now is a very crucial lesson that I will probably refer back to for years and years of, hey, look at what Barcelona did. They were untouchable, and now I don't think it's controversial to say they're not a top five club in the world. I don't even think close, honestly. On field, maybe they're a top 10, but I mean, it's crazy to say that because over the past 10 years, I mean, 10 years really encapsulates like the Eto and the Messi and all that era. They were far and away the best team, one of the best teams we've ever seen. And they just had all that pull. And now they're falling way down. And that's really saying a lot because not only in the prestige drop, but also the fact that we've said La Liga is a two-horse race for so long. And now, LOL, Barca and Madrid are not, neither one of them are favorites to win this season. It's Atletico. So, yeah, I think really just the main point on all that is sustainability. And I think teams have to sort of pull back, and we'll see. Lee?
Yeah, well said. I don't have anything really to add to it. I kind of echo everything you said.
Okay.
Very happy to see it happen to them with the smugness with how both clubs operated, particularly Barcelona. As you touched upon, it was like the rite of passage. Like, oh, when a player it's like their God-given right to get the best players in the world. And how dare you, you know, deny them the opportunity to, play for Barcelona?
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, they've dealt with it very pretentiously. It's like inevitable,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know, both
And
on the
just
player
despite,
side,
like,
but also on their side too. It's like, oh yeah, they're coming, and there's nothing you can do
yeah.
about it.
I remember, like, I'm going way back, but it's been going on a while, obviously. I forgot which tournament Spain won. And, Pique's throwing like a Barcelona jersey on him. He was the Arsenal captain at the time. Like those kinds of things, our dealings with them, how I guess it's more commonplace today than it was even 10 years ago, but how our players or how they get your players to act when they're trying to go there, whether it's Mascherano refusing to play or Coutinho with his bad back and great sadness and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, love it and long may it continue. I'd love to see Barcelona finish like 15th this year. It would be fantastic.
Yeah.
And like you said, true though. Like you do, it is a, they it's it's almost like a learning tale for other clubs that aren't PSG or City. Even like it's like a warning cry to clubs even like
Yeah.
United size or whoever, insert club here, that the bubble can burst unless you're backed by a literal state and a country. The bubble could burst because it happened to Barcelona.
Right. And I mean, I think the next obvious question, which I don't even know whether I want to ask it just because it's honestly, I don't even think it's that interesting because, again, for the reason that you see up here that I have phrases and topics to avoid is I want to avoid all the, default uh, talk and topics, almost clickbaity, and everybody's just, what they're going to say. And this week in particular is going to ramp up, and everybody's going to be predicting, oh, well, City, are they untouchable? They're going to win the league. And, all this. So, anyway, I don't even. So, the question I would pose is, okay, Scott, now you're arguing on behalf of sustainability and being reasonable and not ratcheting up to 350 million pound transfer fees like it looked like we were going to be getting to before COVID, because
Mm-hmm.
the stock market chart was trending that way. Um, so anyway, maybe it's of course, I don't want to say blessing in disguise, but just the market correction is maybe a good thing that we kind of peel back and, maybe it's ramping up a little bit. But anyway, the question, which I'm not going to ask, is okay, are you just ceding this over to PSG and City? Because whatever, the sport will evolve, and do I think, this is going to turn into like a football manager simulation that City and PSG win like 8 of the next 9 Champions Leagues? No. I think it's something that's on everybody's minds that people fear that that will happen, but that's just not how football works, and I don't think that
No.
that's really. I do think that things balance themselves out, and you know even look at college football, like Alabama. You could say like, oh, they're going to win the next 8 titles, or whatever. But it doesn't work that way. Like, yeah, sure, they're in the football playoffs every year, but it just you're going to get recruitment. Players aren't rec- let's see what Holland does, whether it's this summer or next. He may not want to go to City or PSG because it's just the dumb, obvious choice. He might want to build something. Look at Klopp. Going to Liverpool wasn't the best thing for his career, but it ended up being so because he took a risk. He wanted to take on a project. So anyway, that's
Yep.
maybe put that topic to rest, sort of thing. But two like spiraling off conversations from that original topic of Barca are, where's Messi going to go with each minute that passes that looks like it's more answered. And secondly, I think what I find to be a very interesting topic is I think there's many countries slash markets around the world, which I can explain a bit further, that are somewhat like cherry picking, ripe for the picking of talent. You have France with their TV deal. I want to circle back and explain that for the audience in a second. You've got Italy. Look at what's happening at Inter. If I'm an Inter fan, how sad you'd be, probably crying your eyes out. I mean, this is the equivalent of Liverpool winning the league and then being like, hey, yeah, Mane's for sale. Um, Firmino's for sale. Van Dijk's not for sale, but if you give us like 150 million, he could be. Um, so yeah, pretty sad for the Inter fans. I mean, Lukaku's leaving. A lot of links with Barella, and I think that might be happening. Lautaro Martinez seems to be on the market. Um, so yeah, I think something's going on with their ownership there. So and then back to Barcelona. I think that I've listened to a couple people say, not really like mainstream rumorville just yet, and I think that there probably are reasons for that. I mean, I think some clubs like to do their business quietly so they don't attract other attention, but I do think that there are going to be some deal. There's going to be at least one Barca player that leaves this summer that you didn't expect, and you're like, holy crap, how did they pull that off? Because I think, again, Barca's going to need to shed. Um, and I think there's going to be a player or players that are going to be available at a certain price. So you might as well just lodge a bid and see where it goes, see if it gets accepted, because who knows? They may need to sell. They want, they're telling everybody and their mother they want to sell Coutinho and Griezmann, and for a very good reason. They're at the latter stage of their careers. Kind of sad to say because we're talking about 28 and 29-year-olds, but they're obvious. They're obvious. They have very high wages. They obviously need to reduce their wage bill. They'd like to get fees for them, but um, they're not going to be able to shift them. That's my prediction. You can't give those players away for free because those are golden cage players. Who would sign Coutinho for 300,000 pounds a week or whatever he's making on a free? You're not going to find a club that's the clubs that can afford that don't want him, and the clubs that want him can't afford that. He's not going to go to Tottenham and make 300,000 pounds a week. So that's a really interesting thing. And then I think, you know, again, if they can't shift those players, they need to shift somebody. So I think if I'm looking at Barca, I would look at cheeky bid for Ansu Fati, Pedri, Frankie De Jong. One of them might have to go this summer. It'll just depend on who they end up selling, but it's got to be somebody. So I think that the vultures might be swirling around some of these clubs. Yeah, Lee, I don't know if anybody in particular comes to mind. Again, I mentioned League On. I think there's already some players that are being honed in on, and I think people are seeing that there's a lot of like quite good talent that might be available for cheap in League On. So I'll kick it over to you. But I also do want to explain the League On situation because I think that's really fascinating as well.
Oh yes, I would explain. I would explain the Liga situation
Sure. Oh, a little
because
bit
you
more
hit
time
everything
to
on.
think. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you hit everything on Barca really.
yeah,
No one can afford the wages. Grace funds. I mean, what's he on 500 a week or something a week? It's
yeah,
insane, and he's been brutal there.
yeah,
I think people are a little too kind when they say, "Oh, he hasn't been good there." No, he's been pretty bad.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just square pegging around the whole
He's
situation.
not
I mean,
young.
he's
Yeah,
got to leave this summer. I do think that he'll find a home. Coutinho, who the hell knows? I mean, he'll just leave. I mean, I I think he'll leave because he's basically bad. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe Koeman will be like, all right, I'll do something with him. We might as well put him to use since we're paying him. But they don't. I mean, it's just such a weird situation.
yeah, yeah.
But anyway, yeah, the league off situation is very very interesting. So. Concisely put, League in the past year agreed TV rights with Canal Plus. 20%, I was going to say 20% stake, 20% of the rights. So 20% of the League games going to Canal Plus for 332 million euros. Okay? Sounds like that's at a valuation of the TV rights for 1.6 billion euros. Then I don't, forgive me, I don't have all the details, and frankly, I think it's speculation anyway. But somehow, somewhere, I don't know if it completely had to do with COVID, but Amazon, so I said 20% of the rights went to Canal Plus. That leaves 80% of the rights still up for grabs. The market came way, way, way down, and Amazon bought the remainder of the TV rights for 200 between 250 million euros and 275. So they bought 80% of the rights for less money than Canal Plus got for 20%. So the valuation of the Ligue 1 TV rights, which gets split out to all the clubs, I'm not sure equally or if there's a La Liga situation where the bigger clubs get more, but in any case, the TV rights valuation went down 80% and Amazon got 80% of them. So that boils down to league of, you know, a vast majority of the revenue for these clubs these days is TV revenue. So all the league uh, clubs, pardon the pun and pardon my French, are shitting the bed with this lack of revenue. They're not, you budget for these things. You were expecting that money to come through the door, and so now Canal Plus is trying to now the league clubs might even get less than the contract has been agreed to because now Canal Plus is pissed because they way overpaid and they're probably going to argue like, oh, false pretenses or something, and so they're going to try to renegotiate their contract and pay even less for their 20% ownership. So anyway, that's a whole craziness. I don't think that's fully played out. I think some clubs have been signing some players from the French teams, and I think to the French team's credit, I think that they have, kind of dug their heels in the ground a bit and said, you know what? No, you're not just going to take us, out back and, just take our players for whatever price you want. I think that they are trying to still maintain some reasonable prices for players, but I think what remains to be seen is that uh, there's going to be a lot of players leaving France. Um, now it's going to be very interesting to monitor the dichotomy between the two things. Of course, this is not going to affect PSG one bit, so it's probably going to be a rich get richer situation. But I'm just thinking on the dichotomy of the prestige of League 1. Now, Lee, I kind of have a guess that I think you're going to say the prestige of League 1 is not going to really change one bit. It's still just going to be PSG and Farmers League or whatever. I don't want to put words in your mouth. But will the prestige of the league change? Let's just assume that the reports are accurate, that Messi is going to sign with PSG. We already talked on our last stream. Is PSG a whole new ball game now? They've signed Donnarumma. They've signed Wijnaldum. They've signed Hakimi. That team is pretty scary on paper. People are throwing out there that Pogba wants to go to PSG. It's sounding like somewhat of a done deal for Lionel Messi. So Messi coming to your league, whether it's MLS, La Liga, the Premier League, Bundesliga, it doesn't matter. He's elevating the hell out of the optics of your league. So I think it'll be really interesting. Do they I don't know. I mean, it might sound outlandish, but maybe it's not that crazy to say, does League One become the second most popular league in the world? Because I think that we kind of in our minds all thought that La Liga was behind the Premier League, and now PSG, is going to become, their kits look pretty sick. Like I'm not a big Jordan guy or whatever, but their jerseys are getting better and better looking. We all know that it's a global sport. You got FIFA fans, you got you got star power out the wazoo. You got Neymar and possibly Messi and everybody else. So yeah, I wonder where Ligue 1's prestige is going to be. But then you also, on the flip side, have everything that I just said with the TV rights and how that's going to uh, impact the teams. Lyon. Um, Lyon is. is famously pretty difficult to negotiate with. I forget the name of their sporting director or whatever, Aulas or something, but he's like the Daniel Levy of France. Like, you want one of his players, and he's like, yeah, great, 80 million. And then you're like, no, we're not paying that. And then the player either stays or, you know, they get close to their asking price. But I know a lot of people are a fan of Aouar at Lyon. Depay already left. I think he was on free, but yeah. Anyway, so sorry, Lee. I apologize. I tried to set the scene on these things and kind of inform the viewers, and then uh, I end up stealing the thunder and kind of
Nah,
saying all the
no
talking.
worries.
Any players that come to mind in any league, um, I really kind of laid out everything that's going on in Italy and France and Spain. Getting a little choppy, Lee. I don't know if you can hear me. Lee.
Oh, we are back. Had a little
Oh,
connection
okay.
issue there. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, we're back. What were you saying? Sorry.
Oh, I was just kicking it over to you with every. I kind of laid out the deal in France and Spain, and at Inter at least, if not Italy in general, and any what I would call opportunistic buy.
I think in France, unfortunately, you probably have whatever pickability you want from any club not named PSG.
Right.
Um, I really don't know much about Liga other than usually just PSG players. So yeah, I mean, I really didn't know much about the situation. Thank you for educating me as well. I it's it's pretty interesting. Your point when you brought up does this replace La Liga as like the preeminent second favorite league? Um, I wonder because I will say, not that we saw much of anyone this past year and a half because of COVID and everything, but I haven't seen too much Barcelona stuff, at least in on my parts, like you have been for the last decade. Haven't seen too much that the last couple of years,
Yeah.
so I do find that pretty funny. Um, yeah, I think La Liga is interesting. Yeah, with what's going on with Barcelona and what it means for the league as a whole. I mean, I'm so sorry. You look at the you look at the squads for Madrid and Barcelona now. Who excites you?
Yeah. I mean, I was just gonna say that again. I didn't want to butt in and
Yeah,
steal more of the thunder, but I was gonna say, forget about Barca's financial troubles. Look at their on field. Like, let's say they can keep everybody. Are you excited about that team? They're in such a transition. Again, mostly off the field and mostly financial wise, but you've got
yeah.
like Langley there. You've got Umtiti. You've got Coutinho who's not fitting in. Griezmann, they could get something out of him. Depay maybe, but like it just screams to me one of those teams that's like such a mishmash of like I don't
Isn't
know where
Pjanic
they are.
still there?
Pjanic is there. They've been talking about shipping him back to Juve or something, but yeah, I mean, I think I said it about like Germany and Spain at the Euros. Like, I think Germany and Spain are in better shape than Barcelona currently. But what I said about those two teams are like, I don't really know where they're at. They're old and young and not really in the good way. So, I mean, I think Barca has some exciting young players. Obviously, Pedri and Fati and De Jong, all those players that I've basically just said, hey, have a pop at them, see what they say. Because if they're not getting any bites elsewhere, then who knows that you might
Yeah.
get lucky there. Just to rattle off a list of names that I jotted down across those three leagues of
Hmm.
possible opportunistic buys. I put Renato Sanchez. I put in parentheses like he's kind of famously on the market, so I don't really know. Like, I don't know if it's Lille or if it's his agent or both. But he really seems to be getting shopped around, so I don't really know how low his price will fall. I think he'll probably go for like 30 to 40 million, which that might sort of be overspending. Then I wrote down Fati, De Jong, Pedri, who I put in parentheses untouchable. I mean, Barca's really not like I don't care how much trouble they're in. You know how I mean, he's essentially their next Messi. I'm not comparing his abilities, I'm comparing his importance to that team. They're not going to let him go, but you know, you could always try. What are they going to? The worst they're going to say is no. Then I put down Botman. I mean, I really don't know much about him. Towering. What is he? Danish? I don't even know where. Swedish, Dutch, something. Player at Lille that Liverpool has been. I just wrote him down because Liverpool's been linked with him. I frankly don't know much about him. Lee, I've been chirping in your ear all day long for the past week about Lautaro Martinez. I think he would be an excellent fit at Liverpool. Feasible, who knows?
Mhm.
Um, we Let me interrupt myself. We got Cry G. What's this stream about? Just a Barca fan channel so far. I don't know if that's a sarcastic comment. I don't know if you're a Barca fan yourself. This is not a Barca channel. In fact, we're talking to two Liverpool fans currently. Maybe that's a little bit of a hint to move on from the Barca talk, but I just find it extremely fascinating. And as Lee said, kind of a warning signal going forward. You know, you act like Barca, you're going to get your comeuppance at some point. Unless you have that oil money or whatever, you can bail out. But anyway, no, this is not a Barca channel. Um,
No.
you got I haven't plugged myself. Obviously, you found us on Twitch if you're with us, but follow Beaty's Beat on most of those channels: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all at Beaty's Beat. And then, yeah, typically we do some watch-alongs live during Liverpool games because I've grown tired of the NBC commentary. So took a page out of the Red Men's book and I do some of my own watch-alongs next week. Liverpool kicking off against Norwich. I believe I'll be doing a watch-along for that. We're both very excited. Um, but yeah, and then the last name on I'm officially your 17th subscriber. Fantastic. Honestly, I didn't even know we were that high. Eureka. Thank you,
Woo.
Cry G. I don't know if I should call you by your username or if you have a name you want to share with us. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And thank you for joining. Lee, just the last name on this list of opportunistic buys. I put Franck Kessié on there, the Milan
Mhm. Mhm.
midfielder. I'll hold my hand up. I know nothing about him aside from sort of his reputation. I think he's an all-around, pretty formidable midfielder, but I want to stop there because I don't just want to start throwing out like football cliches where announcers pretend to know they know about players without watching them. But yeah, I mean, we've been linked to him. I don't know how seriously. I think it's mainly because he's got 12 months on his contract. They
Yep.
don't want to have
FSG
another
special.
Donnarumma situation on their hands. So, I mean, just for the viewers, Lee knows my opinion and I think shares this opinion. Like when we're linked with players, I more or less don't even really have an opinion. I like to do my research and look at them, do some YouTube scouting. But if Klopp and Edwards like him, I like him, and I think that he's going to pan out. It's essentially,
Yeah.
our shared opinion there. So we'll see. We'll see. Those are the opportunistic buys. Lee, I don't know if anybody else has been, has come to mind, or if you like any of those players. I know you're uh, a Leeds, a particular Leeds winger. You're a fan of.
Yeah. Also the Leicester winger. Those would be my two guys.
Okay.
Um,
Rafinha and
Kessie, I don't know.
Mark.
Yeah, for anyone that wasn't following that. Yeah, the more and more I think I'm just all those players you named in the situation, looking at it through a Liverpool lens. I I don't have much of an opinion on. I don't think they're going to go for a midfielder. That's just me. I think whether you're going to view it as people viewed going into last season with the center back situation, a lot of people were clamoring replace Lovren. Didn't happen. I think it's the same thing this summer with Genie. I don't think they're going to replace him. I think everyone's crying out for it. Where's the Wijnaldum replacement? And I don't see it coming. I think they're going to look. They look at the squad, and
So give me
I think they're
you.
content with who they're with, who they have,
I'm
for
50-50
better or
on
for
that.
worse. I'm not saying I agree with that.
I partially agree with you. Now, I want you to give the club's perspective. What's the club like company line? Should that be the case
Yeah.
and we don't sign a midfielder? It's because
So it's because look at who's on the books already. You know, Henderson, Fabinho, Thiago. You also have Milner. You also have Ox. You have Keita. You have Jones, and then a little kid, a little wonder kid everyone's talking about. That's probably where he's going to play. That's where I see him playing. I don't see him. I'm not saying he's going to be playing as like a prototypical Klopp 8, but as we saw last year, and I think we'll see it this year too, kind of played a 4-2-3-1 sometimes. And I could see Harvey playing in the midfield there. So, yeah, I think that, like I said, that's what, 7, 8 guys just rattled off. I think that's what they're going to say. They have 8 guys to do it,
yeah.
and that's what they're going to roll with.
Pride G in the comment was saying that he thinks that he or she
Mm-hmm.
needs a center mid and a backup striker, which I think is right in line with
Correct.
pretty much
Yep.
every Liverpool fan. So you're not
Yes.
you're not wrong. I think we
No.
tend to agree with you there. Um, yeah, it's a
Listen.
tough one
On
to call
paper,
because I think you on the midfielder thing. I mean, listen, I don't want to, go down the whole rabbit hole, but like, yeah, it's very easy for fans to be like, yes, I would like one of those and I would like one of those. It's going grocery shopping with, your father's credit card or whatever. Like, if you're not paying the bill, then yeah, it's easy to say we want these things. Now, granted, I do think it's reasonable to sign both in those two positions. Um, I think Lee and I, being Liverpool fans of however many years, 20 years, whatever,
yep.
we've seen it happen, and you call it jaded, you call it reasonable, you call it practical. Is we've seen this before, so we don't want to get our hopes up, and we expect to maybe be let down. I don't really know how to put it. Now, granted, this is not my overall view on the season. I am
This
very
is this
excited
is
for this season. I think the squad is great, but I go back and forth with the midfield because I do think. Well, I was going to say coming out of last year. Now, assuming health last year everybody was injured and that's a crazy thing, COVID, all that. Now, I think you have to assume it's almost impossible to have the same lack of health as last year. But last year on the books, you had Hendo, Gini, Fabinho, Thiago, Curtis, who we didn't even know would really be as strong of a presence as he was. And I think that that's a good thing. We can celebrate that. Now you have Ox and Keita. They're on the books. Oh, sorry, I didn't mention Milner too before I get to the players made of glass,
mm-hmm.
which are Ox, Keita, and Shaqiri. I don't know if you consider him a midfielder or not, but he kind of takes up one of those front 6 positions. So there you go. I mean, that is not all those players can get on the field. It just oscillates back and forth between what kind of, and again, reasonable seasons in like 17, 18, 19, 19, 20. That, yeah, you have too many players for those positions. Now, again, we know that Ox and Keita are not going to be reliable. I also didn't mention Taki, by the way. Most people consider him, you know, front 3, but if you're playing a 10, which again I would sort of disagree with you. Like, yes, we saw it last season. I definitely think it happened less
Can I
often.
can I say something that I
Yeah,
don't mean to be disrespectful to Taki. I get big like Rafa era vibes with the Taki signing.
that's
Like,
interesting.
yeah, he's
Where are
cheap.
we going?
Let's try it out. Like, let's just see what happens. You know what I
So
mean?
what?
It's
So
like
what you're saying is you expect Liverpool to sell Taki to Everton
so
because he's that
maybe.
because Rafa's.
Yeah. No, I was talking more. Rafa just was like, please give me any money at all, and I'll try to find something that works. He gives me one of those
Well,
vibes.
yeah. I mean, Dirk Kuyt might be sort of a lazy comparison, but Rafa. Yeah, I mean, on the
I'm not
cheaper
a. I
side of
just
attackers and can run around and make stuff happen, but not necessarily that like upper echelon of.
he's
I I mean, basically where we're at now, which is kind of your
You know
point.
what it is? Speaking of Rafa era, if you this can be a lazy comparison, brought that up. If Taki like excels, and I would say even like hits past the ceiling, he could be like a Yossi Benayoun.
Okay, yeah, and Benayoun was he was sick
He was
for
good.
for
He was pretty sick
stretches,
for a couple
so
years. Yeah, but I think
not
that's like
Andre
his ceiling.
Varnon territory,
No, no, well, no.
number 10.
Oh god, dark days, dark days.
So anyway, sort of to get us back on track in terms of the Liverpool and what we'll be doing this off. I mean, yeah, it sounds like what you're saying that it's more likely you think we'll see an attacker come in because I could almost like well, we had this conversation privately, I think earlier today that again, I reaffirm my affection for Lautaro Martinez. Remains to be seen whether he's a viable candidate or not. But if we sign him, you go from Liverpool being like, hey, I think we're a bit slight on our attack to we're set, or as I like to put it, stacked. Stacked in all caps.
Stacked. Yeah,
Lee kind of told me to be, steady and maybe we're set but not stacked.
yeah,
And again, it oscillates. My word of the day, it oscillates between oh yeah, we're in damn good shape, and yeah, the front three as the famed front three is untouchable. Nobody like you almost can go back to last season and be like, hey Jota, like what on earth are you thinking, dude? Like why would you sign for Liverpool? You're not going to play. And again, we're not going to rehash this conversation, but we've had the conversations in the past where Liverpool has been linked with Timo Werner, and yeah, the Leipzig Timo Werner that was sick and banging in 24 goals this season, and you know we went back and forth. And again, I'm not going to rehash that conversation, but you have to sign a player that's good enough for your team, but also has to accept the fact that he's not going to start quite often. And so Jota has been that beautiful balance of, I mean, you couldn't, Jota, not to get carried away here, but Jota's a dream signing. We got it done very quietly. Nobody saw that coming. It was very Fabinho-esque of a quiet signing that just popped up out of nowhere and like, oh crap, okay, he's a Liverpool player now, and he was straight out of the gates. Um, Great contribution, and he's 24 years old, so you're not signing like a 20-year-old player that you're like, he'll be good. He's like even I mean, let's be honest, like the Curtis and like I mean Harvey Elliott's even a step further back. We're excited about him, but if Sadio Mane gets injured, the first game of the season, and let's say Jota too, and then you have Harvey Elliott starting for you, you're nervous as a Liverpool fan. You're lying. Anyone that tells you different is lying. So Jota is that kind of beautiful in between where like he definitely has upside. He's 24 years old, maybe 25 at this point, but he's growing into that position and that maturity and that quality level. Right at a time where I don't really like to say these things, but I think a lot of Liverpool fans would tell you that we might be edging towards the end of that front three. Um, so yeah, I just and again, that's where you go. That's where the spectrum exists with. Oh, we're in trouble with the front three because I think a lot of Liverpool fans out there definitely have concerns over Mane really taking, excuse me, a big step back in his form, and then people fill in the blanks there with they think that he's aging, and uh, and Firmino as well has been like this for a couple of seasons. I still hold the faith, but maybe people kind of you know feel like may think that I have blinders on. So anyway, that's kind of my shtick on the front three. I think if you do come in with a good side, now granted, we've been linked with like Jared Bowen. Does he excite any Liverpool fan? I'm gonna say no. So and yet he's a body, and I don't know. Sometimes like with the FSG era, it's like any Dan Lebitard, uh, American sports journalist. I love a lot of his takes, and he'll say that like if you have who was that Raiders quarterback like Tua Sopo or whatever, like some laying duck quarterback that nobody likes, and fans will just be like, "Give me anybody but this guy." Now that's not an intelligent opinion. Just because you're pissed with who you have doesn't mean anybody through the door is going to be any sort of improvement. But I think a lot of times when fans sort of in the the FSG haters, they'll come through and they'll be like, "Oh, they suck. Please give me anybody, sign anybody." Um, that's not really a well thought out opinion. So I'm saying that can happen with Jared Bowen, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what Liverpool do. I believe until August 31st. I think we're back to those days of the transfer window going through August. Um, the Premier League played around with slamming the window shut uh, right at day one of the season, but I think they realized that didn't really pan out well for the English clubs. So anyway, yeah, it'll be interesting. Um, yeah, Lee, I kick it back over to you for any kind of final thoughts on Liverpool, any links that you like, or, I think we kind of covered what we feel like our
Yeah.
needs are as a squad.
So people think we need a midfielder. It's just I agree. I'm not going to disagree. I was one that was very upset last summer that Lovren left with no replacement. I I'm not going to sit here and say I predicted last season no one could. Who could see Virgil getting hurt in this? I think it was literally the second game of the season. But we all knew Gomez and Matip were going to miss time. Happens every year. So you got upset with that. And I think it's the same, like I said before, it's the same kind of vibe going into this season after losing Genie. Like, where's the replacement? And I'm like, nah, it's not happening. Now when there's 8 guys on the books, even though, like you said, we know Ox is going to get hurt, unfortunately. Kite is going to get hurt, unfortunately. Hendo, I mean, literally everyone on that list minus Cujo, has missed time recently. Even Millie was picking up little
Yeah.
nicks and knocks left and right. So yeah, buckle up for the midfield situation going into the season for sure. And I just want to say something, not to veer off topic, but I hate to say it. I think Liverpool's plan, and almost any club not named Chelsea, United, or Liverpool, or City, is you have to build the best starting 11 that you can and just cross your fingers that, because you can't compete with that money. You're not going to have, no one's going to have the same squad as City. So in my head, I'm not expecting to have, at this current moment, especially if they end up getting Kane, City could field like two starting 11s that could probably contend for a spot in Europe, which is, it's stupid to think about, but it's almost true. No one's
Lee,
going to
you
have that
you
depth.
can see me, right? You can see the screen.
I can't right now at this moment, no.
I'm brandishing yellow card for
Okay.
mentioning four-letter word.
What was the 4-letter word?
Kane.
Oh, I'm sorry. The England captain. I forget the England captain. Who would never miss a day in training, by the way. I'll say that again. No one's going to have that depth. United could probably afford that depth. They certainly don't have it now. And also, for everyone saying, hot topics, oh, United definitely going to finish second this year. Sure. I'll take a bet on that. Anyway, continuing on, I think Liverpool's taking that approach to the midfield as well, that you got to just hope for the best. Fingers crossed this is the one season where Ox and Kaida can stay on the field. Thiago can stay relatively on the field. He's missed time his whole career, though. But anyway, if they can all stay healthy, yeah, sure. Let's hope it works out. Because we all talked about it from 2017 to 2020. Wow, Mane and Mo are so durable. And, everyone's so durable. Virgil's a unit. He's a machine. Well, all that shit caught up to us last year. So hopefully that was just a bump in the road. But anyway, and then back to the squad thing of trying to just build the best team, best starting 11 you possibly can. I don't think it's too much to ask from a club of Liverpool stature. I'm not saying to have 19 guys who really could be contending for a starting spot like City have, but could we have a solid 15, 16? Because I don't even know if we have that now, in my opinion. Give me the starting 11 plus, two attackers and a midfielder that won't miss a beat in quality and just have them battle all year for playing time. Because we don't have that now.
Yeah.
Forwards, you have Bobby is. I mean, I don't know what to say. I don't want to sound too harsh because I love him, but we'll see how he does. So you have them three, front three. You have Jota, and then the drop off to Origi and Shaq. This is I'm really not trying to crap on our own players, but it's a noticeable dip. Too noticeable. You got to get
For
someone
the
else in
for
there.
the viewers at home, I'm displaying the back of my shirt as he is about to
Yeah.
critique the beloved Power Cube.
Yeah.
Currently wearing
Well, I hate to say it. He's he's really not much for all the crap that Kaita gets and Ox has gotten. Shaq has not been much better in terms of being available to play when we need him. Let's just call it what it is. And on top of him, I mean, having mystery muscle injuries that keep him, that he picks up in training and he misses 2 months. He's not a like for like fit. I'm not saying any player is, but he doesn't really fit the system. So you got to get somebody else in there.
I agree. I mean, listen, Shaq and Origi, like, it's almost not even worth discussing because it's very clear to everybody. The club is trying to shift these players. But
Yeah.
I think what is interesting about it um, is that, you were asking me earlier off call, do I buy that Liverpool's actually going to stick to our price tags? And, for those who haven't been paying attention, I think Origi might even be for sale around like 20, and then Shaq for like 13 million, which is somewhat
Yeah.
curious
The
that I
Origi's
believe that's the exact amount that we signed him for.
Yeah.
But in any case, I do buy it, and two, I think we should stick to our guns. Not only because we're Liverpool and we're mighty, and I'm not even saying that facetiously. I think we should if we feel that. I think we should if we feel we should. The most obvious thing of all time. But no, for real, I think that. No, I'm not saying think twice about selling Origi. Sure, fine, sell him, but don't sell him for 5 million because the whole thing with why a player doesn't get sold. Here's another obvious thing that I'm about to say: a player doesn't get sold if he's more valuable to the current club than he is to his future club. And the reason I say that is because okay, we sell Origi. Now what? Again, I don't want to be all high and mighty, but um, like just be careful. I, See, that's not even the tone I want to set. Like, be careful selling him because of what you'll lose. But I do think that he's worth more than us than 5 million because I do think that he's worth just about 10 million to us. Because yes, he's a wild card you can throw in, and not to ride on the coattails of his past success and yeah, he probably will never be as important to us as that, 18-19 season, scoring in the Champions League final and against Barcelona and against Newcastle, huge, and against Everton, whatever, crazy, right? But guess what? He can do that. And so, like, he is much more worth it to us than Rian Brewster. Like, he's better than that. And so, Shaq and Origi, I think, are in this camp that you're not quite sure how good they are. But I do think that, and again, I'm not like, hey, team, keep them. But I do think that we should stick to our guns if we think that they're at a certain value.
Well, it all
And
depends. It
it's
really,
not the worst case if they stick around. That's really my point. It's not the
it
worst
really,
case if they stick around.
it really depends on what the plan is. So there's two schools of thought, and I'm gonna preface this: no one knows anything because FSG is shady as hell. They lie about stuff all the time. I.e., the wage bill is 300 million. It's not. I think that's like the entire operating cost, but they report it as a wage bill. Anyway, it depends on what the plan is. So there's two schools of thought. The one school of thought is Kanate was our transfer budget, whatever it was. What did he end up being? 35, whatever. I forgot what
Yeah.
it was exactly. That's the transfer budget. And anybody coming in after him, that has to be, those funds are raised by sales.
Yep.
So if the plan is, yeah, let's get as much as we can for like Shaq, Minamino, Origi, whoever it is, and let's all bundle it up and hope we can buy someone with that, number one, yeah, hold out for as much money you can get, obviously. Also, number two, that's stupid. I think that's stupid.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's
The second school of thought is if we are targeting one of my boys, who I think at this current time, number two would be Rafinha, and number one would be Harvey Barnes in terms of trying to buy players to bolster up the attack. After losing Shaq and Origi, like if you're gonna have to, both those players are gonna go for. I'd say Rafinha's at least 40, and I'd say Harvey's at least 50, just because of the English tax. If you're gonna buy that, really not much difference between getting 10 or 12 million. I mean, I know it's $2 million. Who the hell am I to say? I don't have $2 million. I'm not gonna see $2
yeah,
million, but
yeah.
like let's just get it
Well,
done.
I think your point,
What's more important? Wait, what's more
part
important?
of your
Saving
point
two
is,
million. Wait, saving $2 million or getting him in training now? Or are we gonna do like what we did last year? We get him like we get someone in on August 30th.
well, yeah, you're completely right, and that's valid,
Yeah.
as it lies. Um, but also another point too, like I was gonna say timing for another reason too. Getting him in now, like if you wait because you're trying to get 2 more million for Origi, well, guess what? We all know as the window, as we get closer and closer to the deadline, values are going to go up because they're going to say, we
Yep.
know you need this guy, you're running out of time, blah blah blah. So
We
it's
need to
better to
replace
just,
him. Yep. Yep.
yeah, get him and whatever. So Lee, I know you got to get going shortly, so I would like to. Well, first, before I do this, CryG was in the comments and he said, "What's up with the he who shan't be named?" Which sounds an awful lot like Voldemort, which we now have a new show inside
Yep.
joke. Voldemort is a
Yes.
name for Harry Kane,
Harry Kane. Yeah.
and the backstory behind that, both small picture, like as in today's stream. I put this list up here of phrases to avoid because they're just all default topics. You hear them everywhere on every podcast. It's not interesting to me to talk about is Tottenham really going to sell Kane to City and who's your season predictions? I put contenders up there. Contenders is a band word because everybody says, oh, are United bolstered an awful lot? Are they going to be title contenders this season? Who cares? So just rather avoid those sort of boring, beat to death topics, as well as big picture. And he says, fair enough, appreciate it, Cry G. As well as I might be the world's biggest Harry Kane hater, not on his talent, but as a person, I can't stand his diving. I can't his diving in accordance with his reputation, this shining, knight in armor or whatever the expression is. Swearing on his daughter's life was really it back in I think the 17-18 season. That was like the door closed forever. That was both the beginning and the end of his reputation for me.
What a bozo.
For those who don't know what I'm talking about, I think it was a Christian Eriksen free kick in about March of the 17-18 season, Mo Salah's first season. He was neck and neck in the Golden Boot race with Salah, and let's let's be honest, everyone saw it. It didn't hit the shoulder.
He didn't
He
get.
said, "I
Yeah.
swear in my daughter's life that it touched my shoulder," meaning the goal would be awarded to him and not a fluke goal by Christian Eriksen. Um, and I just go, come on, dude, like it's not that important. The Golden Boot, like you know,
Yeah.
not to be this guy, but like you know, how about you worry about Tottenham winning something? That's a complete pot shot. That's unfair, but anyway, yeah, just not a Kane fan in general. So um, yeah, that's that. There's a podcast I listened to, and he did the England squad's hair, and he said Kane and Delph. Oh, ran away. I'll have to check it back on the tape. I apologize. Um, but anyway, Lee, do you still have to get going? And can you give me
Yeah.
like 5 minutes?
I do have to get going. I have about a couple minutes.
Okay. All right. So with that, we're gonna do a rapid fire. I had a game set up, but first, I thought of two things. Rapid fire, yay or nay. So they say that there's going to be vast changes to VAR. Says the Premier League. They're not going to give marginal offsides, and they're not going to let players get away with buying penalties. Do you buy it? Yay or nay?
I buy it. It's still going to have disastrous results, if that makes sense.
Okay, so I'm going to say nay for you that you think anything will actually change.
No,
Um,
I think it's just going to be like egregious off
oh,
like things where you're like, oh, that should probably be offsides. You're going to say, oh no, because like his hit was
oh, they're gonna
onside.
tip this. So there's gonna be drastic
Yeah,
changes, but it's gonna be just as bad.
correct, exactly,
All right, fair.
correct.
Ox as a false nine. Yay or nay? Will it work or will we
Yay,
even see?
yay, yay!
Okay,
If he
I
stays
like
healthy.
it. I like the, I'm a
Yeah,
believer too. I like it.
yeah,
Um, and then I have a quick game. Uh, maybe we'll do like five or 10 of these. It's where is he? So these are players that are either journeymen or moved on the fly. And I'm going to say a name of a player, and you tell me what club he is contracted to currently. Eric Lamela,
Oh, he just left Spurs. Did oh, I'm gonna guess. I know it's Spain, Sevilla or Valencia.
Sevilla. Yes. Oh,
Okay,
Cry got that one. Joe Hart,
no idea. Literally no idea.
Celtics. Rui Patricio.
Ooh, so he left Wolves, didn't he?
I didn't even know this until 2 days ago.
Uh, oh, I saw this. He left Wolves.
Taking too
Roma,
long. Jose
Roma,
Mourinho's
Roma,
team.
Roma,
Roma.
Roma.
There you
Yep,
go.
yep, Roma.
Ashley Young.
Oh, no clue.
Villa. Back to Villa. That's kind of
Back to Villa. Wasn't he at Inter for a little while?
yeah. He was there and he
Yeah.
actually was doing quite well.
Okay.
Kalinoglu
No, no clue.
going on a free transfer from Milan to Inter.
Wow.
Your boy Guendouzi. Where is he?
Oh, I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Marseille. All right, I've
Oh,
got
okay.
like
Is he
six
permanent or
more.
is that another loan? Permanent?
Um, I'm not sure. I think it's permanent.
Okay.
Um, oh, Areola, the goalkeeper. From,
Oh, didn't he go to West Ham?
it? Nathan
Okay.
Ake. Lee? Yeah.
He's oh sorry. Ake, you said?
Yep.
Scotty?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's at City, right? City.
Yeah. He is right. That was a fake news one. I was trying to throw you for a curveball. I don't know if
Oh,
you
you know
watched
what?
the Community Shield today. He
Yes,
screwed
I
me
saw it.
because I actually was going to
Yeah,
make a joke out of this after this and be like, "Yep, no, because of that mistake, Pep shipped him out. He's now at Valencia."
yeah, yeah.
But no, no. But for a while, I thought I could get you with that one. That like, oh yeah,
Uh,
like that obviously didn't work out or
Community Shield wasn't today. I would have second guessed myself,
whatever.
but
Yeah. Mamadou Sakho.
he left Crystal Palace, didn't he? I don't know.
You would not guess. He ended up at Montpellier.
Yeah, I would not have gotten that.
Um, and then I got two more. Yeah, what's his name? Johan Johan Bosch, the Brighton guy. Hint: he's not a Brighton
Oh,
anymore.
no idea.
He went to Feyenoord. Not that you would know that, but I just wanted to shout out Brighton's record signing. Obviously didn't work out. Back to Holland.
Yeah.
And then the last one for you is Danny Rose,
Danny Rose. I saw his name recently. Where is he? I don't know.
Watford. Cry I
He did.
must say
Okay.
he got about 90% of these. So
Nice.
kudos. Thank you
Yeah.
for the new followership, and the trophy definitely goes to you today.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Lee. I know
Excellent.
you gotta
I got a
tail
closing
off.
hot take.
So what's that?
Closing like little hot take.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a good chance anyone who doesn't buy Harvey Barnes this season, like this summer, is going to regret it because I feel like he's going to have a pretty big year and go for some pretty serious money next summer. That's my
Okay.
prediction.
All right. All right. I'll buy it. I like it. I saw that he was rocking the number 7 today. I think that's new. I think he was 17.
Yeah.
Makes total sense. He really should be able to call his shots. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
with you. I think he's going to be a main man there. Also, shout
Yeah.
out Patson Daka. We'll see. You
Yeah.
know,
That's just going to be fun.
yeah, Leicester should be fun. I like the kits today. They were looking beautiful. Leicester, real
Yeah.
nice blue and white Adidas. Really found a nice niche there. Um, looking sharp. And the city kit was pretty sick, I have to admit. The white with the kind of gradient sponsor looked nice and
Yeah,
clean. You always have like these sentiments. Harvey Barnes was born in my town. Fun fact. Let's go, Cry G. We love it. And
he's from
very interesting.
Burnley, isn't he?
I don't know. Is he from Burnley? Um, but anyway, yeah, I was saying the Community Shield is always so exciting because you see all these like new kits and you get excited for the new season and then you actually see it out there in the flesh. Almost feels like a free preview, like when ESPN Plus gives you that like 7-day free trial. So yeah, that's it. I mean, the Premier League is right around the corner. I'm proud of us. We didn't get sucked into stupid default prediction
Yeah,
podcastery. But yeah, I mean, I doubt we'll really have time during the week since we do have day jobs, but we thank everybody for tuning in. And uh, I'll say you'll see me Saturday at 12:30 Eastern time here in America. I believe that's around dinner time over in the UK for Liverpool Norwich, and I think I'll be doing a watch along. And yeah, you'll see. Liverpool Lee is very much part of the Beatty's Beat family, so
woo,
you'll be seeing him as well. But Lee, I thank you for your time and excellent chatter,
yes.
excellent banter. So, final words.
Looking forward to Saturday.
Oh, let's go. I feel good
All right.
about it. I mean, we started with Norwich 2 years ago. It was a I think 4-0. Although Allison got injured in that game, so let's not have that. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
have under one injury for Allison this season, hopefully.
yeah. Please.
But, but
I'll talk
anyway,
to you guys.
Lee,
Talk to you, Scott.
appreciate it.
See ya.
Great stuff. All right, see everybody all later. Thank you for tuning in and be safe out there. This has been Beatty's Beat.